Tonight's special guest is John Palino. Next Saturday, the 13th of October, the citizens of New Zealand go to vote in the local body elections, and John has his eyes set on the Lord Mayoral chains of Super City, Auckland. At first it was John Who, and slowly it became John or Len. Could you give your vote to this man? Find out tonight on The Beat Goes On. We welcome John Palino as our special guest on The Beat Goes On. John Palino, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Thank you.
Wonderful to have you in our humble studio.
It's great to be here.
It's been an amazing journey, isn't it? From New Jersey, they call it, don't they?
An absolutely amazing journey.
To the wonderful life here in New Zealand and running for the Mayor of Auckland's the Super City.
That's right. And we got Bruce Springsteen coming here soon.
Yeah. You should do a double act.
Oh,
he's from New Jersey. Let's go back. You were born in 1960 in New Jersey. Now, this is a baby boomer chat show, and of course, you were born at the tail end of the great generation of baby boomers. What do you know about us baby boomers?
I remember that it was always a bit difficult in those years because there were a lot of people. And you know, all of a sudden you had a big influx of people going to school. You had a big influx of people having children. You had all these big influxes all within those 10-year periods, you know, which was interesting.
And of course, John, us baby boomers are those that actually vote in local body elections. You know, it's hard to get the young people out there to vote, but
very hard.
You're working hard on that to get the young people?
Trying to. You know, it's a bit, there's a lot to cover, and I can't cover it all. It's just impossible. It's huge, and I don't have a big team. I have a good team, but not a very big team. It's not a lot of money behind me like there are, you know, for Len. But we are doing amazingly well.
Yeah. You're getting, look at this tremendous publicity. I mean, I love this shot. It's in the Auckland Herald, and I'll just open it and let our viewers see. There it is there. Now, I mean, that's saying that the Herald is actually saying, John, you're the main runner.
That's right. That's right.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's right. He's definitely getting nervous. I think about it every day.
There's Len on the throne, and then you're hiding behind the throne, and you're about to take over.
And it's going to be a very close race. We just have to get the voters out there. If we get the voters out there, they believe I can win it.
Now, before we get into the politics side, I did want to, what's a New Jersey man doing in New Zealand? In fact, I read that you saw a beautiful Kiwi woman and you fell in love and you followed her to New Zealand.
That's right.
What about a little bit of that story?
Well, you know, I was in New York City. I had 2 restaurants in New York, and Trade-Ins, the New Zealand Trade Development Board, was only 2 blocks away from my uptown restaurant. Yeah. And for some reason, all the Kiwis used to come in and they used to say, John, this restaurant reminds us of back home. Now, really? I had green lip mussels on the menu. I had kiwi burger, I had fish and chips, I had pot pie, and I guess those things made them feel at home. It was a pub type of restaurant, so I had the bar right at the entrance and the food there. So inevitably, because they used to come in all the time, I met a Kiwi. I actually had, do you remember when we had the World Cup in 1995, the Rugby World Cup? We played South Africa, so the game really wasn't playing in America, so I had to buy the game and played it there at 6 o'clock in the morning for them all to come down and all. And I met a Kiwi. Her visa was up. She had to move back to New Zealand. I came back here, came to visit in September 1995. I fell in love with it. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to go back, sell my restaurants. And I did in 2 months and moved here January 6th, 1996.
So that's like one of those TUI billboard ads. You know, the woman would have said, oh, yeah.
That's
yeah,
right. Exactly, yeah. I mean, she said, I think that's what she believed. I think she said, yeah, he's never going to come back, you know. And, but I tell you what, I fell in love with it here, and I just fell in love with the people, the lifestyle, and the beauty.
Now, did you think you'd stay this long? I mean,
no.
You didn't think you'd stay?
No,
you'd talk her into going back to America?
I thought I'd come for 2 years, give it a try, convince her to go back to America. But we split up after 1.5 years, and I still stayed.
Yeah.
Look, it's a great country. I was working on so many projects. At the time, I was working on the Millennium. I did the big Christmas tree in ATS Square for the Millennium, which was great. From doing that, I ended up with my first bar, which was Stark's at the Civic Theater. And then the America's Cup came, and I got a restaurant down in Nevada. It just was one thing after the other. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I remember you can pick up the phone, and you can call anyone up. I called up the CEO of Sky City, and I worked on a deal with him for the Millennium. It was like the next day you can go in and meet these people. It was amazing. I was blown away.
So when you look at You walk down the streets of Auckland, John. What are you seeing that you feel that could be improved? The average person might see something, but they don't decide to become mayor. So takes energy to be a mayor, so where's that energy coming from?
Well, you know, over the past 10 years, I've watched Auckland grow, but I've watched it deteriorate at the same time. And if you just take Auckland City and all, and you look at it, and you look at Lower Queen Street, and there's 9 for lease signs on the buildings on Lower Queen Street, and then you take a look at issues, things like, you know, when we did the World Cup for rugby, right, and we took Queen's Wharf. I was you know, campaigning against the fact that let's turn that Queen's Wharf into something for the people. We had those beautiful sheds. We should have turned that into something for the people. For instance, all those people that moved into the city have no place to play any sports, to join communities. And if you look around the world, and like even what New York City did and all their peers and all, they actually turned everything into to usable places for the people to use. You know, sports centers, like the one shed could have been turned into a soccer field for people to actually get active and join other communities. The other shed could have been racquetball or netball or things like that. A driving range at the end of the wharf, you know, hitting into a net and all. Things for the people. And when you build for the people,
you're dead right. There's not much to actually do down there, is there? You can
not.
actually go down there and look at things down there, that development, but there's not much that you can actually do.
That's right. And what they did down there for the
except for a ride on a tram. Sorry.
Yeah, the tram, which is stopped now, and it's still costing us $150,000 a year to rent those trams, which are stuck in storage right now. Never mind the fact they put the tracks down wrong. But anyway, you know, so you know, you had the Queen's Wharf, and for the World Cup, they turned it into, you know, Party Central. Well, who owned that? The city owned that. So what did they do? They took all the business away from a lot of bars and restaurants. Well, since when is the city actually involved in the restaurant business? You know, they took all the business away from Parnell, Ponsonby, even Kingsland. You know, and that's not the right thing to do for a city. You're supposed to actually strengthen your local businesses, make them strong. You know, get people going to those areas. But no, they caused this Party Central, which they owned all the bars, and advertised it and pumped it so that a lot of the people went to them. Where in fact they should have really built that for the community. Now there's enough bars and places to go for the public that was here, because the majority of them were locals anyway. Of course, a lot of people came in, tourists came in and stuff like that. But you know, let those people survive. Let those businesses get strong. Those are the ones that are actually paying the staff.
I see. What you're saying is look after the people that are already here. And what they do is they go and create a new area, and then they create blighted areas.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. Parnell is not the place that it used to be.
That's right.
And there's a lot of businesses feeling it in Parnell.
That's right. And there's no reason for that.
And Ponsonby, and yes, no reason.
Those areas can be fixed. A lot of it is due to parking. You know, Takapuna, they're actually struggling a little bit. They got a great, beautiful little CBD there that they want to develop, and council's actually stalling them. Really is. They're stalling them. People want to develop there. And then they have parking meters till 10 o'clock at night, and the people that are working in restaurants are struggling because they have to park in a meter, and it's making it difficult for them. It's making life difficult. You know, we want to be the most livable city in the world. Well, you know what? Sometimes the simplest things make it more livable. Like when you drive down Key Street and you hit a light. You wish that when that light turns green, the next one's going to be green too. I mean, you know, it's not even possible. They do it on purpose, you know. They want it to turn red. They want you out of your car, so life becomes more difficult.
Well, how can you fix something just like that parking issue? Can you say, look, free parking? You can't, because then you get people clogging up the places. What's your solution for that?
Well, you know, I used to own Starks at the Civic Theater, and you know, I saw as time went on, as they were continuously taking away the parking spots in the city. And that's why you'll see 9 for lease signs in Lower Queen Street. You start seeing business die in the city. Look, there's no congestion during the day, and there's no congestion at night. So why shouldn't we be able to just hop in and jump into the city, go to the theater or whatever like that, you know? I mean, would I want my elderly parents, which my parents are not alive, but would I want them going into the city late at night by train? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want them walking up Queen Street late at night. And unfortunately, it's not too safe at nighttime with all the gangs out there and the kids and getting drunk and all and doing crazy things. And so they want to drive in. They want to feel safe. They want to be able to drive in. But even if they wanted to take the trains in, there's no parking at the train stops. We have these park and rides with no parking.
Let's have a vision, the John Palino vision for Auckland. How would you like to see it over the next 10 years? This is the big vision.
Well, you know, we have this amazing population growth. First of all, we need to be running council efficiently and transparently. I want everything to be transparent. I want the council meetings to all be online. I want the cameras to never go off so that your communities understand and know 100% of what's going on. You never question it. You know what's going on. The communication has to open up. And every contract that we sign, we get bids and all that. We do proper bidding. We put the contracts online so that the people who do bid on it, they're able to look at the contracts and actually police it for us.
Good stuff. So you know how we have a parliamentary TV channel?
That's right.
What about a parliamentary TV?
That's
What
right.
about a channel for the Auckland City Council meetings?
It's possibly, yeah, or at least go online. And some of the TV stations actually said to me, like TV3, and they said to me, you know, that's a good idea, John, because we can actually go download it and use the piece. I said, that's right. You know, the party politics need to be stopped in local council. There shouldn't be party politics in local council. They shouldn't be. It's about getting in there, running a business, and that councilor representing the voice of their community. So what I want to do is strengthen the voice of the community, make the local community board strong. Now, I'll give you an example, these berms right now. Everybody's upset over the berms. Well, this is another thing that Len did where he does not discuss it with anybody, he just stops it. Right? Boom, done. Well, what I'm going to do is actually reintroduce it. We'll start cutting the berms again, and then I'm going to hand it over in 3 months to the local communities. And now the local communities who live there, who talk to the community, they will decide where it's needed, where it's not needed, where it's needed, and they'll have the money to cut where it's needed and not where it's not needed. Very simple. You got to give the voice back to the communities. Let the local board start running communities. Remove that bureaucracy between them and council, because people are calling up and they can't get anything done. It takes months and months and months and months, and you know what? That costs money, huge money. Give the local board their voice. Say, you handle this much of it, I'll give you the money. Boom, make people's lives easier. Make it a livable city. But you know, we have this population growth, which is very, very important. People right now are frustrated because they're saying, we don't want the people to move here. Why can't they move somewhere else? Well, you know, the population growth actually is a good thing. It's an amazing opportunity. But the way it's being introduced to us is not an amazing opportunity. How it's an amazing opportunity is how we actually grow in the future. For instance, if we intensify Mission Bay, Kohimarmar, St. Heliers by 30,000 people, not one of those 30,000 people are going to have a job or create a business, because there's nothing in their community. They're going to have to actually leave that community and do that somewhere else. But if we build a new city like in Manukau, a beautiful, vibrant new city that the whole world is going to recognize us for, because it'll be one of the newest modern cities in the world, you're going to create every single job that a city needs. And what does a city need? They need everything. Doctors' offices, lawyers' offices, office buildings, IT industry, restaurants, cafes, bars, hotels. Every single job will be created, because the people that are moving there will say, look, I can actually open up an office. I can open up that restaurant. I could do that. And you're putting people to work. Now you've got 300,000 or 400,000 people moving into this new city, which is an amazing city, because we're going to build it from the ground up. You're putting people to work. You're helping the community out there around Manukau. Those people are going to get jobs. Those communities are going to get busy. People are going to start going into those shops and restaurants. They're going to need to hire more staff. We're completely changing the South, where we have the most problems right now.
It's day one. You've won the election, John. You're sitting behind the mayoral desk. You pick up the telephone. Who's the first call? What's the first thing you want to change?
I want to go out to the communities, every single community, and ask them what they need. I want to strengthen the local board and make sure that those folks are actually now working in a community, and they don't have to come cap in hand with me all the time. They're actually going to get things done. But I want to hear the voice of the people. I want to know what they need first. So I'm going to visit every community and say, what do you folks need? And then we're going to take notice of that, and then we're going to start working in those directions.
Now, you'll have to work with the council. There's Labour people there, there's Conservative people there. How do you get on with the run-of-the-mill councillor who's got an agenda burning away, like,
that's right,
I'm a Labour person? Or
that's right.
How are you going to handle those people?
That's exactly what I said before. That camera is not going to go off, because like I said, council has nothing to do with parties. Nothing. It's politics, but it's not parties. It has nothing to do with it. You represent your community. So if I have a problem with these people actually fighting over parties, I'm going to make their community know it. And I promise you, they won't get voted in next time. And it's the same thing that happened in Parliament TV. They stopped acting up. They started realizing that the public are going to vote on them. And if they're starting to be seen on how they're responding and acting, and I'm going to make it very known. I'm going to call their community up and say, hey, I want you to watch this. This is what your guy was doing or woman was doing about your area. Nothing. And that's going to change it.
We're sitting here, it's Monday night, the 7th of October, but next Saturday you could be the Mayor of Auckland. What are your chances, John?
I say right now it's about 50-50.
50-50.
Yep.
What's the poll saying?
Well, see, personally, I didn't do any polls. I was just given a call today by one of the pollsters, and they said that I'm just behind him right now on finished votes. But the undecided, they asked him another question. Okay, if you had a vote right now, 3/4 of the undecided, which was about 21% of them, would vote for me, which would push me way over him. Wow. So I need to get the votes out.
So I've got a feeling that at John Palino's place, the fridge is full of champagne.
Well, you know, I would love. I can't wait, and I'd love to celebrate because I really want to thank my staff and the people. Yeah. The people have been wonderful. They really are.
I think you could be the oracle of the local body elections.
Hey, anything's possible, right?
John, thanks for coming in today, and I'll be watching the election night with great interest because I'll be able to say, I know that John Palino.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Very kind of you.